This is an introduction to the United States Geological Survey website. So you start by typing usgs.gov in the search for the browser, and you come up on this page, the home page. You'll notice in some of these rotations you'll see space weather, earthquakes, things like that, which are droughts, which are often of general interest, but sometimes of interest to surveyors. GPS, for example. Here's maps of the moon and other planets. Probably you're not going to be surveying there for a while, but could make really nice posters for your office. So the USGS site, the reason I brought it up is because USGS is responsible for most of the geological and other natural resources mapping of this country. So I'm going to click on Maps, Imagery, and Publications, and you'll see this section on downloading maps, printing maps on demand, historical map data. You can even make your own map where you select an area, and you can download things like satellite images, aerial photographs, and so forth. So I'm going to click on Download Free Topo Maps. And it brings up a search facility, and I'm going to first start by clicking, or double-clicking in this case, on Missouri. And I just keep repeating that because don't have any real good control over scale. And at some point you'll see a grid. You notice there's more and more detail. And now you see this grid. This grid happens to be the 7.5 minute quadrangles that cover this part of the state. If I zoom back out a little bit, you will notice that the scale changes, and now I'm seeing just the 15-minute rectangles shown on this map. So I'm going to go back to the 7.5 minute grid. And I'm going to click on the Rocheport quadrangle. And what I'm going to now do is switch from Navigate to Mark Points. So the default when you come in here is on Navigate. I'm going to switch to Mark Points and mark a point somewhere on this map. It doesn't matter. Now at this point I'm going to click on the marker, and it'll bring up what's available in terms of mapping that includes that area. So let me click on this. And so you see here that it brings up all the mapping. Some of it is 7.5 minute. Some of it is 30 by 60 and so forth, 30 minutes by 60 minutes, 1 degree by 2 degree grid, and so forth. So there's different kinds of mapping. And there's quite a bit of mapping. I'm not going to go through the details of it, but it goes as far back as a 30 by 30 minute grid from 1888. So the mapping, 1888, 1947, 1952, 1954, 55, 59, 82, 2011, and 2015. So at this point, you can do a couple of things. One of them is you can view the map, or I can download it. It tells me the size, or I can put it into my shopping cart and add it to my shopping cart, and then eventually download them all. So I'm going to click on View, and I'll let you explore the other facilities. So when you put it in on View, this is what happens. You see the entire map. Obviously not very readable. This is close to 30 megabytes of information. So that's one thing that you can do. So something else I want to point out are several other resources that you can use, including something called a Global Visualization Viewer. And I'm not going to go through a demonstration of it, but it's something that you might want to explore, because there's quite a bit of information, not just about the United States, but the entire Earth, because USGS operates several mapping satellites that are multispectral. Probably the oldest program there is something called Landsat, but they have many others. And then you have this thing called Earth Explorer, which actually lets you see the Earth from your Landsat imagery or other programs that are similar to Landsat that have mapped the entire Earth. The search criteria always starts with the United States, although I see Canada dominating the middle of this search window. But again, you can search the entire country, entire world, and you can even get down to the point of defining what type you want and which path and which row of your satellite passes. We'll have to do some research to figure out what those mean, but you can get quite detailed information when you have clients who need to get information about history or about other information that surveyors used to provide by being on the ground, but now because they have access to more data. And under data sets, you can see some of the things that are available. These include aerial imagery, commercial satellites, declassified data, digital elevations, land cover, and it just goes on and on. I'm not going to read through this in detail, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood that these kinds of facilities are available and at your fingertips, and very often can make a huge difference in terms of the quality of information that a surveyor can provide to their client. So that's your introduction to the USGS website.